Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Lauren, and today I'm going to be doing a review of the Build Your Psychic Skills 90-day cards. So today I'm going to be reviewing the Build Your Psychic Skills 90-day cards. Now, I'm actually just going to start these now. I have gone through the 90 days a few times before, but I want to kind of film my journey with them and kind of show you guys the cards as I actually use them. So I'm going to start the 90 days over again today. But basically, the 90-day cards are written by my mentor, Karen Fox. She was our coach at the Aspen program for psychic development, and she's also made a psychic workbook. You should definitely check it out. I can tell you right now, I already recommend these because I've used them 2 or 3 times. I've given copies out to people. Super highly recommend them if you are interested in strengthening your psychic skills and kind of resonate with how she set these up. I love Karen because the way she set up her courses that we took, they were very much, they felt like school. She had written curriculums for schools before. So, this program was no different. There was homework, there were exercises. She catered to everyone's different form of learning. And so she made these cards for the students for us to practice, and you can get them on Amazon, and they're pretty darn cheap, and I think that they are so worth it when you're trying to strengthen your psychic abilities. So it's kind of this awesome little box. I love it. It's so cute. And then you open up this flap, and so the first couple cards are these awesome kind of like getting you ready, showing you what to expect, kind of explaining the cards themselves. So after those cards, you kind of have the table of contents, and then she kind of lays out, all the supplies that you'll need, which is super helpful. And then she has the types of cards, so they're all color coded, and you have one a day. So you have 7 different colors, and so the Monday cards are all similar. The Tuesday cards are all similar. So like Wednesday is the Claire's day. If you know anything about the 6 Clairs from my video courses, you should know what those are. And so every day you're going to practice a different Claire. Fridays are dream days. Those are so much fun because she gives you an assignment to do before bed, and then the card the next day kind of talks about like how you should deal with that dream and how to decode it. Sundays are precognition day, so that's kind of telling the future kind of stuff. Saturdays are psychic play day. Tuesdays, body awareness. They go on and on. So those are kind of the setup cards, I would say. They're kind of these gray, cool cards that you get. And then you have the cards themselves. And there's 90 of them, so there's a lot. It's kind of a handful. And you kind of have all those colors. Now, these purple cards are strewn in, and they're just little bits of advice, little super awesome, like words of encouragement or things to remember. And she says, like, every single time, pull out the purple cards, put them in a different spot. And it's crazy how the purple card shows up right when it needs to show up. So I love how she built these. So at the end, there's kind of like an end check-in, and then you can see Karen and kind of a bio about her. And then they have like a few cards that are like, other things that we sell. And then she has these fun cards at the back that are used in some of the exercises. So there'll be like these colors, and you'll end up using them with the Clairs a lot. So they're definitely good to kind of have in the back to go to. I kind of prop them open like this. And then what I'll do is I'll take the first card with me, and usually I'll keep it in my purse to remind myself of what I need to do that day. And then usually, once you start to get pretty deep in here, usually I'll put a card that way just to remind myself where I am. And then I'll put that card back, pull up the next card. Oh, that's a purple card. But that's kind of how I work through them. And I love putting them by my bedside table to just kind of remind myself to actually do it. I think that's the number one thing with these cards, is if they're not in a place that you remember, you can totally forget about them. Awesome. So I'm going to get started with these 90-day cards and kind of give you guys some highlights. I'm not going to go over every day, but give you some highlights of what it was like working with them, and I'll kind of chat about it afterwards. And, you know, if my psychic ability did increase and did improve over these 90 days. Today is day 1. And today is create the habit of meditating daily. I'm on day 6 now, so day 6, that's always the hardest part for me for picking up these cards, is that I just forget to use them in the first week. But the second thing that's happened is just my intuition is just a lot more open and a lot more ready to receive information. I feel like my precognitive abilities are just crazy insane lately. I keep like imagining a conversation, or like a thought pops up in my head, and then like 5 minutes later that conversation happens, or something that I was just thinking about happened. And it's not a coincidence, you know, that's my intuition, that's that psychic information coming through and letting me know, hey, this is about to happen. And I think today was one of the coolest ways that happened. And that was so I just went to the mall, and as I was parking, I was thinking about one of my friends, and I was they're like a couple, and I was thinking, oh, wouldn't it be so funny if I just ran into them at the mall, and I kind of just like imagine like having this conversation with, you know, be like, oh, hey, you know, what are you doing here? And then, you know, so I parked, got out of my car, started walking to the door, and as soon as I got into the door, which was probably like 10-15 seconds later, my friend, it was the guy from the couple that I was thinking about, not both of them, but just one of them, walked around the corner, and it was like the same thing happened that I was just thinking about. It was like, oh, hey, what are you doing here? And it was like the weirdest, most confirming sign that my intuition was working. And so I love these cards for that reason, is just because you become more intuitive all the time. It's really late right now, but there's a game that I have to play for today's thing, and it's called What's in the Bag, and I'm not sure if you can see it. But basically what you need to do is get a bag, or I use a cup, and you find an item and you hide it under that cup, and I'm supposed to use my psychic abilities to try to figure out what is in the cup. This one is technically try to taste and smell what's in the cup, but I'm just going to go through and practice using all 6 of my clairs, just to do something a little bit more with this. So right now my husband is hiding something under a cup for me. So that is kind of the one thing about these cards, is that some of these you do almost need somebody to help you with some of them, because I can't hide something for myself if I don't. I mean, I would know what it is. So, alright, now I'm just going to go through each of my 6 clairs and kind of ask what's in the cup and see kind of what I get, and just kind of write down my first impressions. So, clairaudience is first. I'm going to ask what's in the cup and expect to hear an answer. Same thing with all the rest of them. So, clairvoyance is seeing. So, I will ask the question and see the answer. Expect to see. Let's see how I do. Now I know that, and she puts it in the card, that it's not about getting right, it's just about practicing. So it's really hard even for me to put that aside and not want to be right. So I heard ringing or singing. I don't know what that was. I saw just something round and chocolate. And then I couldn't kind of get that out of my mind. I felt like it was round and I couldn't get rid of that. So that kind of bled into some of the other ones that I did. And that's kind of the key to this, is you're supposed to kind of wipe the slate in between. Tasting, I can't really describe it, but I felt a very specific spot in my... Mufasa, you're so weird. I felt a very specific spot on my tongue. Like, on the sides is all I can describe, of like a bitterness. I'm worried he's gonna knock the cup over. Smell, I felt like it didn't have a smell to it. And then just the clear knowing, I just felt like it was like a ball of some sort. I'm like confused on if it's a food or if it's an object. I feel like it's a food. Let's see what it is. I have no idea. gosh. Okay. It's an apple. So, singing and like bells ringing. I don't know where I got that. Could have not been tuned in all the way. I saw something round. I guess chocolate. This isn't chocolate. I guessed that it was squishy. It's kind of squishy-ish. I also guessed that it was pokey, so maybe that's the little stem. Tasting that bitter taste, I guess. When I would bite, I don't want to eat this right now, but I have a feeling. This cat. I have a feeling that it would cutting my head off. Kind of be that bitter taste on the side of my mouth. No smell. It kind of does have a smell. And then clear knowing, I just wrote down ball, and I also said food. So I would say that's pretty darn close. And as Karen always says with these cards, the key is just to even get a little bit right and a little bit close, because that means you're exercising your psychic muscle, and that's kind of what it's all about. It's just strengthening those and trusting them. So it's pretty awesome. So I'm on day 13, and this is one that I've always had problems with whenever I first played with these decks. And basically, you're supposed to be using your clairsentient ability to feel each card. So I've felt each card by putting my awareness in my hand, and I've kind of written down what I've associated it with. Like whenever I felt red, I felt kind of a feeling in my head. The yellow card made my hand feel really heavy. So I've kind of memorized that, and you're supposed to kind of mix them all up, kind of shuffle them around, pick one. I'm not supposed to do this on actual day 13, but I know this is coming up. And so I'm supposed to feel and guess what it is based on that clairsentient ability. And right now, it's like nothing. I'm just so bad with clairsentience. So my goal is to try to get better at this particular exercise. I'm just going to guess blue, but I'm not actually getting that clairsentiently. Wrong. So definitely going to try to get better at this one. See if I can increase my clairsentience by the time I'm done with these cards. Okay, so I'm in my office right now, and today's psychic card is that before I enter a room, I've got to put my awareness in the room and sort of feel what it's going to feel like. So I did that already, just because I'm running a little bit behind, but the energy of the office kind of feels like everybody's tired, maybe not energized. So that was a great tidbit of information, because now I know to go into the meeting energized and get people excited. I just got out of the meeting, and basically what I kind of felt the energy was people were going to be tired, maybe not motivated, and I wish I would have read that maybe like an hour beforehand, because I just didn't have any ideas of how to actually like help. So this was great. It was a great tool because I actually got information about the meeting that I was going into beforehand. I just, again, wish I would have known a little bit earlier so that I could have actually done something about it. So day 24, definitely super helpful. Okay, so day 26, basically what I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to draw the dream that I had last night, and I'm supposed to hand it to somebody and see what they pick up on it, just to see if there's any other messages that might be there. So, last night I had a dream that our dog escaped through our back gate. I have this dream all the time. But, so that's like his tail. And I saw in my dream Ian, like seeing him and missing him. My picture's not good, but the point is not to have a good picture. It's to basically just try to illustrate what you saw and then see if somebody else can guess. Tell me what you see.
I see myself looking out the window at Ash your downstairs window of Ash running back and forth.
That's exactly what it is. But I think that you have probably seen this image too many times in your own head that you knew exactly what I was trying. So
was it supposed to be me?
Yeah, it was supposed to be you, actually. So that's interesting that you at least got that right. And I mean, it is a pretty shitty drawing, so. I think my husband either knows me too well or he's seen this happen way too many times. But I think where I went wrong with that card was that I think I'm supposed to show something that somebody might not have recognized, and the point is not to guess what the dream is, which is basically what Ian did, but excuse me, it's more supposed to be like, what other meanings could someone else pull from it that could have value to you. So I've done this before, and I've showed a dream that I had that was like a long time reoccurring dream that I had, and people picked up like, oh, I'm getting just like, I look at this picture and I get anxiety, I get this, I get that, and it was like very eye-opening for me because I'd never looked at that dream in that way before. This one, I think I asked the wrong person, and my dream was not maybe abstract enough. So that was a good learning lesson with that card, for sure. So honest review time right now. I made it to about day 38, and it has been, I think, a few months since I've even picked it up since then. And this happens to me every time that I do this deck. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I still absolutely love it. I just think that the 90-day format for me just like doesn't work. It's really hard for me to get into that routine and remember things, especially when life stuff comes up like travel or work or vacation. And I felt like I was constantly like trying to catch up and keeping it to the correct date. And so I tried to force myself to finish it, and then I just kept like feeling more and more guilty about it, and then I would never get to it. So I truly think how this deck needs to be handled is by just pulling random cards every day. Because I think it's going to be really tough, unless you're super diligent and you know you can stick to it. Some people are like that. I just am not for some reason. But I would pull out individual cards. Just pull out a random card for each day. If you don't understand what it is, or maybe you don't feel like you're at that level yet, you can put it back in and pull another one out. But I think that the time constraint of feeling like you have to do it for 90 days and then not being able to complete it, I think was just really kind of stressing me out. And so I never got it done. So I'm sorry that I didn't get through it all, but you can see from some of the videos that I've done kind of the examples of the types of days that are out there, and what each card sort of has to offer. So one of the things that I get requested most on my channel for is more psychic practice stuff. The hard thing about the videos that I create is, like, if you've watched it once and you're trying to guess something that I'm saying, then you already know what it is. Like if it was an apple or something, it's very hard for you to rewatch that video because you already know, unless you give it a lot of time. So I highly recommend this deck. This keeps you up to date. This keeps you constantly focused on something. And these exercises are legitimately going to help all of your clairs, your dreaming. I mean, there's so many areas that this deck covers. And I think my final review is to use it as a random pull kind of deck. Don't try to stick to the 90-day thing, because I think you'll lose motivation and you'll beat yourself up too much. At least that's how it was for me. So I'll get a link to you guys in the description down below of where you can buy this on Amazon. Again, this was made by my mentor, Karen Fox, who is also now on YouTube. Check her out. I'll link her too. And let me know in the comments, you guys, if you've already bought this or what you think of it. So thanks so much for watching, you guys. To check out some more of my review videos, feel free to go to my YouTube channel. You might already be there. And look for my playlist, Quick Reviews. That being said, if you guys have something you want me to review, please leave it in the comments below. The great thing about my reviews are that I only do reviews on products that I like. I'm not going to waste your time and be like, don't buy this. I just feel like that's silly. And I've picked up a lot of metaphysical books, a lot of tarot cards, decks, and so I love giving out advice on what works and what doesn't. Thanks so much for watching, you guys, and remember, at the end of the day, to always trust your intuition.